So this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time, for the past few weeks. Just didn't really know how to start it, didn't really know if I should make it, if that would be the right move, whatever. I don't really have, my thoughts super clearly organized about this. I just have a ton of thoughts about it in my head, and I have, no one to tell them to, so I figured I would just make a video and, share it with the internet. So, this video is for vegans, for animal rights activists, for those who, dedicate their life or a large portion of their time to fighting for the animals, animal rights, liberation, all that. I've been hearing, the rhetoric, the words in these past couple weeks that veganism has a PR issue, that veganism is alienating, non-vegans, pre-vegans, whatever you want to say, because of the words that we're using, specifically the words Holocaust, the word slavery. Sometimes people even say this when, vegans or animal rights activists will compare the treatment of animals in animal agriculture and in the fur industry, the skin trade, rape. They'll say that, the sexual exploitation is rape. Other vegans, other animal rights activists will then say to them, you shouldn't say those words. Not saying that they're not even correct, not saying that what's happening to animals right now is not slavery, is not rape, is not by definition, a Holocaust, but that it's a PR issue, that these words alienate and, strike an emotional chord in non-vegans, in people who this isn't their life, right? They are not surrounded by this animal suffering, 24/7, like we in the movement, we who do this are. They'll say that, veganism has a PR issue. That's the phrase that I hear a lot. I do think there's some validity to that. I think that a large portion of people, it's kind of cool to hate vegans. It's kind of cool to, hate on vegans because they're, white and rich and privileged and all this shit. There's this huge misconception that veganism is a white thing, it's a rich thing, it's a privileged thing, even though Black people, African Americans, are the largest growing population of vegans, of animal rights activists in the movement. We still have this stigma that vegans are white, rich, privileged, female, largely, is the stigma that they are. I'm not really sure why this is. I would like to think a large portion of it has to do with the voices that we choose to elevate in the movement, the voices who are, the loudest, who do a lot of great work. Animal rights activists who are in the spotlight kind of are male. Some of them, most of them, I guess, are white. Maybe most of them are privileged, however you define that, maybe wealthy. I'm not really sure, the socioeconomic status of people like Earthling Ed or Joey Carbstrong or, James Aspie. Well, we know a little bit more about, his wealth, but whatever. So I think that's why the stigma is there. My main point for making this video is when I hear the rhetoric that veganism has a PR issue, it really irritates me, because veganism is not a marketing firm. We're not a business. We're not trying to sell people on the idea of veganism any more than feminists are trying to sell people on equality of the sexes, on, closing the wage gap or whatever else, no more than civil rights activists back then and today, trying to sell people on the idea that you shouldn't be racist, that you shouldn't discriminate on a person because of their skin color. You're not trying to sell somebody. You're not trying to be like, oh, by not discriminating against a Black person for being Black, this is how it's going to benefit you. This is all the great things that'll come once you stop being racist, once you stop being sexist, once you stop being homophobic. This is how much it's going to better your life. That is not maybe that's what some vegans and animal rights activists are trying to do. I don't think that is what most of us want. We don't want people to become vegan because of how it's going to benefit them, because it, a plant-based diet undoubtedly benefits your health, your it's less expensive. There's the planet, all of this. It does benefit human beings. It is also there's a lot of human rights issues in animal agriculture as well. But that's not why people should become vegan. You should become vegan because abusing, torturing, killing, raping, exploiting animals is wrong. We as human beings have no right to exploit, to abuse, to kill animals. That is why you should be vegan. That is why we should live in a vegan world. Because that in itself is wrong. You should not want to do that because it's morally reprehensible. It's a wrong, cruel, unnecessary way to live. Just like you should not stop being racist because of how it benefits you, right? Because, maybe you'll get more black friends or you'll get more female friends from not being sexist or racist. You should stop being racist, sexist, homophobic because it is wrong. Because treating those people differently because of an arbitrary characteristic like their sex, gender, skin color, sexual orientation, species is wrong. We should not do these things because they are just wrong. I know I'm repeating myself at this point. But when we treat veganism like we're trying to sell somebody a car, it completely dilutes the message. It makes us look like a joke. When we talk about how cool, vegans are, how great the vegan lifestyle is, you can have all these smoothie bowls and, all this and all that, it makes us laughable. It's a joke. It's diluting the message. We are not trying to sell people on veganism. We are trying to open people's eyes to the way that they've been living their entire life. Like 99.9% of people who are vegan and animal rights activists now have lived there up until this point is wrong. It's morally reprehensible. It's evil to murder and to kill and unnecessarily exploit, abuse, sexually abuse, exploit animals in any way is wrong. It's evil, it's cruel, and it's unnecessary. That is how we should be trying to convince people to go vegan, how we should be trying to open their eyes. We shouldn't be talking about smoothie bowls and we shouldn't be trying to mince our words because we want to get everybody on our side because we want them to like us. We want them to, be part of the vegan crowd, be part of the cool kids club that is veganism, that is animal rights activists. It is not about that. And people, when we talk to them this way, non-vegans, pre-vegans, when we talk to them this way, they're not stupid. They can see that we're trying to get them through this angle of, come join our club, come join the vegan club, and they see it as a joke. If we were to come at them, in the ways that I've been talking about, in the ways and this is not, an original thought that I'm having. This is a lot of vegans, a lot of animal rights activists think this way. And some of them have spoken out against it. Some of them are nervous for whatever reason, because of the backlash they can get. But we shouldn't mince our words. We shouldn't censor ourselves. We shouldn't not speak up for the animals because we're worried about people not liking us. We're worried about people thinking vegans are mean, or bullies, are cruel. Not to say that we should bully people because, being mean to somebody is never going to make them want to listen to you. When you yell at somebody and call them names, they're going to tune you out and not even listen to a word you're saying, no matter if what you're saying is the absolute truth. That's not what I'm saying. We just need to stop treating veganism and animal rights like it's a club. It's not a club. It is a movement. It is an injustice that we are trying to solve, that many of us work countless hours, more than 40 hours a week, more than a full-time job, completely thankless, completely without pay, just because it's right, just because we feel passionate and convicted in this message. So that's basically the point of this video. My rant is over. Just to those of you who are in your outreach and in your talking to people and in your advocacy are trying to sell people on this idea of veganism, I just encourage you to tackle it from the injustice side, to look at it as an injustice, as a morally reprehensible act that we are trying to eradicate, rather than trying to sell somebody on the idea of joining the cool vegans club because we get all the cool food and we get all the cool lifestyle and you can be fit and skinny and all this from being vegan. It's not about that. It's about ending animal suffering. It's about animal rights and liberation. That's all it has ever been about. That's all it ever will be about. That's all we should be focused on. All right.